The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Beth Levin with the Master of Engineering program. Thank you for joining to learn more about the MEng at Berkeley. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes as we're waiting for everyone to log in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to those who just logged on. My name is Beth Levin with the Master of Engineering program here at UC Berkeley. As introduction, I just wanted to talk about what's up here on our screen, what inspires us here at Berkeley. That's our dream about improving life for everyone. Here at Berkeley, we look ahead and ask ourselves a simple question: what can we change in a single generation? From health to water, food systems to climate, energy to economic equality, these are some of our research and advocacy projects that we hope will radically improve life for everyone in this generation. And you can learn more at the website on the bottom right of your screen. And specifically, today in this hour, we'll be talking about the Master of Engineering program here in the College of Engineering. Today's presenters include myself, Beth, Megan Braverman, who works for the program in Student Services and Admissions, and then we're lucky to have two alumni with us today, Leo and Amanda, and they will be sharing their experiences in the second half of the hour today. Here's our agenda. I will go through the basics of the academic and the career aspects of the MEng program. Then Megan will go over admissions, both the process and tips and tricks for applying. And then we plan to spend plenty of time on the student and alumni experience so you can really hear firsthand what it's like to be a student in this program. And then we'll leave plenty of time for your questions at the end. So at any time during the presentation, please feel free to go to the GoToWebinar control panel and the questions text area, and you can put your questions in there as they come up, and Megan will be using those questions to moderate the Q&A panel at the end of this hour. So I also wanted to thank you all for logging in today. I know we have prospective students from all over the world today, and you are either staying up late or waking up early to join us from all over in Europe, Asia, as well as across the United States. So thanks for being with us today. First, I'd like to tout a little bit about UC Berkeley before, for those of you who may not be familiar with our school. Or just as a reminder, Berkeley is a world-renowned engineering institution, and it's your opportunity to access a dynamic culture of excellence, an international community, and really the innovation and leadership that is uniquely Berkeley. We're really proud of our distinguished faculty and alumni that make Berkeley a world-class institution. So these are just some of the awards that our community has been given. Furthermore, all departments here in the College of Engineering that offer this Master of Engineering degree are recognized for excellent teaching and research. And it's our hope by the end of this presentation You'll have gained a further appreciation for the vitality of our MEng community, and feel confident in applying to Berkeley for graduate school. All right, so now I'm going to dive into the details of the MEng program. So our program is designed conceptually to link three areas. We see them as represented here as gears. So the first is engineering leadership. So all of our students are getting a breadth of business and management courses, as well as specific aspects of leadership, like teaming, project management, and case studies. All of our students also have a specific technical concentration. So you are in graduate level engineering courses with master's and PhD students in your department, in your specific area, whether that is product design or financial technology. You'll be doing an in-depth study of technical coursework. And then the unique element that really brings everything together, that keeps those gears moving, are our Capstone experience. And I'll be going into detail about that now. All right. All right. So before I go into detail about the Capstone, let's talk a little bit about the key differentiators of the Master of Engineering program as a whole. One is our emphasis on teamwork. So both in your Capstone project and in a lot of other group projects, you're both experiencing teamwork, and then we have a lot of coursework and professional development opportunities around helping you have a high-performing team, and overcoming obstacles and going through many iteration processes to really prepare you for the world of collaborative work. The other key differentiator, which we'll talk about today, is our career development program, specifically targeted at the Master of Engineering students, because this program is uniquely designed to present you in the professional world with a great combination of skills. Another highlight is the fact that, as I mentioned before, this Master of Engineering program offers Capstone and business and management work to all 7 departments here in the College of Engineering. So no matter your technical concentration, you're coming together to work on capstones and business and management courses, so you get that great diversity of ideas and backgrounds in the classroom. So related to presenting you for a professional career, the Master of Engineering combination of technical and management and leadership skills really presents you in a great place to recruiters for large companies, or if you want to even start a company yourself. Amanda is doing that, and she can talk a lot about that. This is the top 8 skills that employers are looking for, and we cover all of these. Again, I emphasize teamwork. We also have a year-long course specifically on communication skills for engineering leaders. So I'll talk about that on the next slide. So here's what your year in the Master of Engineering program will look like. We start with bringing you to campus a little bit before the typical semester. So we have a boot camp style for the first 2 units of engineering leadership courses each semester. So we start in early August and run 8 days, and then run a 10-day winter boot camp as well in early January. So you'll get 2 units of curriculum done during that boot camp. But you'll see in a typical 2-semester program that each student will be taking engineering leadership courses, 2 technical electives, the Capstone project, and the communications course that helps integrate the technical, Capstone, and leadership topics. So what are those leadership topics? These are the 1-unit courses that we are currently offering. And we each year try to bring on more options and more electives for our spring boot camp. So this first line, the first 3 classes, organizational behavior, R&D, and accounting and finance, everyone will take those in the fall. The next line of 4 classes, you'll choose 2 of those as electives in winter boot camp. And then the final 2 classes, the final 2 topics, teaming and project management, everyone will take in the spring and apply those to your capstone project. So we're really lucky to be in the heart of Silicon Valley in the San Francisco financial district, which allows us to draw on some great lecturers who are practitioners in their fields and that typically have a law or business degree, as well as a really esteemed career in business. So we like to bring in a lot of lecturers who are practitioners. We also use faculty from the business school. And our faculty director, Lee Fleming, who teaches a lot of the case discussion in boot camp, comes from Harvard Business School, as well as a technical background, where he wrote and taught many cases for over 12 years. So now let's talk a little bit about the technical component of the degree. There are many options. So with 7 departments here in the College of Engineering, all offering the Master of Engineering degree, you have a lot of options on what you want to concentrate your technical depth in. So you'll see all 7 departments here and their concentration options listed below. So each of those has a subset of electives from which you choose the 12 units of technical concentration. Also, a lot of our students will take some extra classes from the business schools, take some MBA classes, or take some data analytics or programming classes or design classes from the School of Information. I wanted to highlight some of the newer areas here in orange. Within the computer science, visual computing concentration, we're offering an augmented reality, virtual reality design experience. So you can center your capstone work on that and back that up with technical coursework. Within the Industrial Engineering and Operations Research Department, we're offering a new concentration in FinTech, which focuses on machine learning and data analytics as applied to financial analysis. So that's to prepare students who are interested in a future career in a financial and tech companies, especially pertinent to banks, consulting firms, financial technology, investment firms. So I encourage you to check that out if that's your interest, as well as an evening decision analytics program also in this department. If you're a working professional in the Bay Area, you can do this program part-time in the evening over 2 years, specifically in the decision analytics area. So for all of these concentrations, there are more information and that lists the specific courses on our website, meng.berkeley.edu. Now let's move on and talk about the capstone projects. So we have common educational goals that are applied across all departments. Really, you're going to be in a team and you're going to learn by experimenting, failing, recovering, and then hopefully succeeding. You'll be generating new knowledge, and you'll be on a team that will go through a form, storm, norm, perform type cycle. So all of this is happening in 1 year as we're coaching you through both a technical challenge as well as the challenge of being on an intense team with many deliverables. Now, all of the capstones are organized through several phases of an innovation process. So each capstone is designed to be developing a new technology, which is part of designing a new solution for a societal or business need. And depending on your project, you may be focused more or less on one of these directions or areas, or really phases of the project. Probably a better way to put it. So for example, Street Nature Score was really focused on the user experience and how to engage users to use satellite data to evaluate urban nature. So they were focusing on the need. And then the micro-resonant catheter team, a bioengineering team, was really focused on the technology to design a marker that would help catheters to be visualized within the MRI. And then my final example was this group focusing on solutions. So they wanted to improve the reliability of 3D printed materials in biomedical applications. So they took some technology that had already been done and were trying to find the best strategy and uses for that. Now, how does this all integrate together? This is really the special sauce, as our director calls it, of the MEng program, is the fact that all of this coursework really comes together. The coursework, and I should say our career development material as well. So everything is interrelated. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the career development support that we offer in the MEng program. So the mission of our career development program is to provide you with guidance, resources, professional skill development, and networking opportunities to help you achieve your career-related goals both now and throughout your career. So the idea is by the end of the program, in addition to your honing your engineering and leadership skills, you're also mastering these professional skills. You'll be able to write a solid resume and cover letter. You'll be able to build and maintain a strong network, prepare for an interview and ace it, negotiate an offer, conduct successful job searches your whole career, and really understand the importance of your online brand. So we also help you accomplish this by creating opportunities for you to practice these skills. So a lot of networking opportunities between employers and students, and alumni and students, as well as the larger Cal community. So alumni, I should also emphasize, which you'll hear from two today, are really involved and engaged, and some even offer mentoring and office hours here on campus. So outside of the MEng targeted career services, UC Berkeley and the Bay Area are also great ecosystems for exploring your career. We have a lot of recruiters coming to campus to do information sessions, and that really are interested in meeting with the talented Berkeley campus students. So I definitely encourage everyone to take advantage of all the opportunities here on campus and beyond. For example, the Big Ideas business plan competition. We have social impact business competitions with the business school. We have several incubators if you're interested in bringing a startup idea to campus. Really, the opportunities are endless. So the challenge is how much can you do when you're here on campus for 1 year? So let's talk about a little bit about employers. So this is a list of the top employers that recruit from the Master of Engineering program currently. So you see some big names there, many in the Bay Area. Other partners this year included Autodesk, Hilti, Bose, GM, Intel, and IBM. And these are some of the job titles that our students have once they finish the program. What's not listed here is founder or CEO. Amanda will talk a little bit about that because she is both of those for her current project. And we do have some Capstone projects that spin into startups as well, probably 1 or 2 per year. All right, Now, at this time, I'd like to pass it over to my colleague, Megan, who will be talking about admissions.
Great. Thank you so much, Beth. I hope everyone can hear me, and I do want to thank you for tuning in today. So Beth was great. Thank you so much. She covered everything about our program, but I'm sure now you're wondering, what does the admissions process look like? So that's what I'll cover. If you want to move to the next slide, Beth. So Beth covered the departments that we support, and it's all one online application. So if you haven't looked at it already, the application is currently open, and it's at grad.berkeley.edu. Again, those are the 7 departments that we support, but it's all one-line application that is then sent over to the departments for admissions decisions. So I'm sure another big question that you're considering is cost, scholarships. I know when I'm talking to all the prospective students, that's always a big one. So the MEng, we are a professional program. Our tuition and fees are roughly $55,000. That's not including the cost of living here in the Bay Area, but we do offer some scholarships, 2 of which are listed there on the screen. They cover about 40% of our full-time students, and they range in about $16,000 to $20,000. For the Fung Fellowship, this is going to be a merit-based award, and you wouldn't have to do anything additional to be considered for this. The faculty and admissions committee, they go through and nominate students during the actual application process. For the Opportunity Grant, this is a more need-based award that we offer, and if you feel that you could add to the diversity of our program, you would want to fill out the grant section on that online application. It will ask you some additional information, and then you'll just have to include a short essay on your background and how you can add, again, to the educational diversity of our MEng cohort. So the next thing I'll cover would be our application requirements. I'll go in a little bit more detail on the next slide, but for the general look, we do have about 6 parts to that application. So for test scores, we're going to require the GRE. And if you are not at an English teaching institution for your undergrad, we would require the TOEFL. We will require 3 letters of recommendation, transcripts from your undergraduate university, 2 pieces of writing, your statement of purpose and your personal statement, and then we do also require a professional resume. So on the next slide, I'll go into some more detail and some tips and tricks if you want to go ahead and go to the next one, Beth. Great. So let's start with the resume. So as a professional program and with just the nature of our capstone, we really want to know who you are and what your background is. So we use your professional resume as a way to get a really great snapshot of who you are, what your professional and academic accomplishments are, and really just to get to know you a little bit more. So we do like to encourage, put who you are, what your hobbies are, anything that really gives us a good idea of your background and why you're a good fit for the MEng program. So next, we do require transcripts. They would just be uploaded online to the online application portal. UC Berkeley Grad Division does have a 3.0 GPA minimum. I know that's a question that I get a lot when I'm talking to you all. So overall, UC Berkeley does require a 3.0 minimum. That's on the 4.0 GPA scale. The online application will have instructions if your undergraduate institution doesn't work on the 4.0 GPA scale. So just refer to the application there if you need to do any conversions and whatnot. So moving on to those letters of recommendation, this is a very important part of your application. Again, we want to know who you are, and the way that the letters of recommendation come into play is it gives us a third-party idea of your background, and it lets us know how are you going to handle the technical coursework as well as your leadership capabilities. A tip is you don't need to worry about the title of the person that you're getting the recommendation from, but it should, of course, be someone who's close to you, someone who can speak very intimately about your qualities and your background. Ideally, this is a mix of academic and professional, but if you're an undergrad and you don't have many professional references, it's okay to only use academic, and it works both ways. If you haven't been a student in a few years, it's okay to use only professional references. Either way, the letter should address your readiness for grad level coursework and, again, your capacities to lead and to work on a team. So the next part would be those two writing pieces that I mentioned. The first is your statement of purpose. This is going to illustrate why you are interested in the MEng program. How does our program combine with your past experiences, your education and accomplishments, and how is it going to come into play to really help you meet your goals? We want to hear what you hope to get out of the MEng program and how you're going to take this awesome degree and use it in the future. The second essay is your personal statement. So this is going to be your chance to discuss your achievements and maybe some challenges that you've had in the past. This could be the place where you would want to recognize maybe any low grades on your transcript, any gaps in your resume. Use the personal statement to your advantage, again, to talk about yourself and show us who you are. Moving forward, we'll touch on the GRE score. For GRE, for our full-time program, that is a requirement. Our average cohort, currently our students are about in the 70th percentile for verbal and 90th percentile for quantitative, and then about 3.5 on the analytical writing portion. You wouldn't have to submit those test scores, so if anyone is doing the evening program, if that's what you're tuning in for, we don't require the GRE for those students, but all of our full-time students, you will need to submit those GRE scores. Additionally, as I briefly mentioned, for our international students who are not attending English teaching universities currently, you will need to submit your TOEFL. The minimum would be 90 out of the 120. For MEng, we do prefer a 100 or higher. If you're going to take the IELTS, the score would be a minimum 7 out of 9. So I know that's a lot of information. grad.berkeley.edu has some really great tips on how to build your application, and our website for MEng has some good tips too. If you have questions, we can definitely pose those. But let's go ahead and move on to the next slide where we can take a little bit of a closer look at MEng and our student profile. So on the screen now is a illustration of our departments currently and the breakdown. So we received over 2,000 applications for this last cohort, and we're currently enrolling a full-time class of 366. You can see our biggest departments are going to be electrical engineering and computer science, industrial engineering and operations research, and mechanical engineering. So this is our cohort by department. Of course, you're going to get to know those peers in your department very well, but the nature of the program, you're absolutely going to be working interdisciplinary, so you'll be working with your peers across our program. And this really, really is a great benefit and what we love about the diversity of our program. So we'll move forward to our student profile, and I'm sure you're wondering, well, what does the MEng student look like? Here is a kind of the highlights of our program. So again, we're currently enrolling 366 students. I already covered those average GRE scores. Another big question is always going to be, well, what's your GPA average look like? We don't have the minimum beyond 3.0, but our average across the departments is 3.7. Our average student is a young 23 years old. We do tend to see a lot of our students come to us straight out of undergrad, but as you can see, we've got a range from 19 years old up to 43, so don't let that dishearten you if you're not 23. We have a really great amount of international students in our program. So about 74% are international citizens. And then we do come from 31 different countries, which I'll touch upon on the next slide, I believe. But yes, we love our diverse cohort. So again, this is just a quick snapshot of what MN students look like. Yes, here are the 31 countries in the regions that they represent in MN. Our most popular or most common countries, excuse me, would be China, India, and the United States. So these are all of our great international countries. I think on the next slide, Beth, if you wanted to go forward, we'll touch upon your deadlines. So I'm sure you're applying to some different programs. Here are the specific deadlines for the Berkeley Master of Engineering program. Again, it's all online, grad.berkeley.edu, already open as of September, and it's going to be due on January 6th, 2018. There's no pros or cons as to submitting your application as soon as you can or waiting until January 5th. I would recommend you take the time to create what is the best application possible, making sure you're getting those letters of rec asked for and completed, and just taking the time to really build up that application. Something that does set apart our program, maybe from some other master's or PhD programs you're looking at, is our classes do start in early August. So you might find some other programs with a little bit later, but we really get you started with our boot camp courses in early August, and you're go, go, go until graduation, which happens mid-May. I did want to quickly also add that UC Berkeley does have a policy that you can only apply to one program per year and application cycle. So be sure that you're doing your research and make the informed decision on what program you want to apply for, and then which department you want to apply for. We want you to choose the program that works best for you. We hope that that's the MEng, but do your research, talk to lots of people, listen to the alumni who are about to come up. If you want to get in touch with a current student in a department that you're interested in, that's definitely something that I would be happy to arrange for you. So my contact information is there. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions about the admissions side of MEng. Thanks, everyone.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Megan. So Megan has given you a great overview about what we're looking for in an application and what the class cohort looks like. As Megan mentioned, she is available to advise potential students. And the email that you will be getting after this event will have her contact information in it, and you can also find her through our website. All right, so now I'd like to move on to the highlight of our session today, which is our two alum speakers, Leo and Amanda. So they both finished the Master of Engineering program 2 or 3 years ago and are working in their areas of interest. What I'm going to do is first allow them both to do an introduction of their background and experience and what they're doing now. And then I have a few questions planned for our alumni panelists. And after that, we'd like to open it up for questions from the audience. So if you go to the questions toolbar in the GoToWebinar control panel, you can type in your questions at any time, and Megan will be moderating the Q&A. So at this point, Leo, if you want to unmute yourself, we'll start with Leo's introduction.
Hey.
Hi, Leo.
My name's, hey, good. My name is Leo, and I'm from the class of 2016. My major was IEOR, and I'm currently working as a product manager in the Bay Area. That's it.
Great. So Leo, what were you doing? What was your educational background before you started the MEng program?
I went to Case Western Reserve University studying mechanical engineering. Um, so yeah, that was before MEng.
Mhm. Great. So what
So
did
yeah.
you do to switch from mechanical engineering into industrial engineering?
So it's somewhat great question. So it was kind of somewhat related in the industrial part. It's more like focusing on the efficiency and the manufacturing, which the mechanical engineering kind of touch upon a little bit. The main reason why I want to switch is to kind of broaden up my knowledge base because I was really technical back in my college years, and I just want to study a little bit on kind of like the data side and the business side and see how the technology can work from the kind of business perspective, also from the data perspective.
Okay, great. I'll ask you more about how that helped your career in just a minute, but I also want to introduce Amanda Brief. Amanda, if you'd like to unmute yourself and say hello.
Hey everyone. So I came from a pretty eclectic educational background. My undergrad from Cornell is in biology and society. And then I sort of pivoted to engineering after working for a couple of years after college and did a post-bac in the LEAP program at BU in engineering. And that allowed me to apply to the Master of Engineering program. I also studied IEOR, and I really enjoyed the teamwork aspect. I was actually part of the largest Capstone group of my year, which the Capstone gave us a lot of presentation opportunities, and that ended up helping a lot with pitching my startup. I actually started a company out of a class project that I did in my second semester here at Berkeley. It was a class called Critical Making, and it was through the Center for IT Research in the Interest of Society, so the Citrus Lab, which is like right across the way from where the MEng headquarters used to be on campus in the engineering quad. The project was to design a wearable product that served and somehow collected data on its wearable to improve their life. And we came up with a feminine hygiene product that I ended up pitching and getting accepted to a hardware accelerator. And then I lived abroad for that for a few months, and now I'm back here in the Bay Area working on partner negotiations for that.
Very exciting. And Amanda, when you started the MEng program, did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was that a new revelation?
Yeah, honestly, it sort of happened. I'm not from the Bay Area, and it has a lot more of an entrepreneurial spirit here than anywhere else I've lived. So just the amount of startup related networking events and just being in Berkeley and around San Francisco really woke me up to that possibility. So I'd say that that's definitely not what I came in knowing I wanted to do, but it sort of organically happened.
Great, great. And to follow up, you mentioned you were on a large Capstone team. Can you tell us a little bit more about your Capstone experience?
Yeah, it's called the American Jobs Project, and it was related to the energy sector of bringing renewable energy both back to America for improving drastic climate change differences, but also to increase job opportunities here because a lot were moving abroad due to lower labor costs. So it was actually really related to a lot of policy as well as technical background. So I did a lot on 3D printing, and that's actually why I ended up joining the class of critical making, because I wanted to delve deeper into the actual 3D printing so I could figure out how to do it myself instead of just working on policy for it. And that's kind of how this all happened.
Awesome. Yeah, that's also a great example about of the curriculum integration in MEng and how everything is really influences everything else. Great. And yeah, and the American Jobs Project Capstone was offered for 2 additional years after your group. So they really kept it going because it was such important work.
Yeah.
Great. So now I'd like to ask some more specific questions of our alumni panelists. So Leo, it's the same question for you. Can you talk to us about your capstone project?
I was working on the autonomous driving project. Specifically, I was working on the localization team. So what it does is trying to develop this smart algorithm to determine the location of the car in a really precise manner on the road. And the purpose of that is basically trying to help with the car's autonomous driving decision. Also, fault tolerance. So basically, we're dealing with a lot of sensor failure, and we're trying to design an algorithm kind of fuses all the sensor input to increase the fault tolerance of sensor failure. So that's what I did with the Capstone project. And what I want to add on a little bit is, when I was there was a lot of Capstone project which I thought was really cool. It was when I first got to the program, it was almost like a mind blowing. Because for the first a week or two, you're gonna go through a lot of presentation of different really cool projects that the program is offering. And then from what I remember, there were those like drone projects, like a drone landing, dynamic landing on the water, and a whole bunch of energy programs, which I was really excited for. So it was kind of like a hard decision in the end for me to choose like one project out of so many really cool projects in the Bay Area. That's also a really good advantage that the location Berkeley has, which is super close to the tech center of the world, and you get a lot of cool things to do.
Yeah, I think that's often the biggest challenge is that there is too much to do during your time here,
right.
Berkeley student. So Leo, are you using any of the skills that you obtained through your capstone project in your current work?
Oh yeah. So there are hard skills. It's more like technical skills, not really specifically, because I'm currently doing the web development, kind of web design, product management, whereas I was doing more like low-level kind of coding back then. But I think what I got out of the project most that's useful for my current job is the teamwork and the problem-solving skill. So you really get a chance to work on one of the hardest problems in the world and work with the greatest people. So you will meet a lot of encounter a lot of like problems and situations, like technical situations, also people problems. Then you really learn how to try to solve them. And more importantly, I forgot to mention is the presentation. So you will have to prepare a lot of presentation. That's one of another highlight of the Capstone project, which is it's not pure technical, because there are, I think Beth mentioned that there's a communication class that goes throughout the entire year, which kind of tightly coupled with the Capstone project. I don't know if that still works that way, yes. But at least for my year, it was like that. So throughout the year, you would have to present your project to your peers and do status updates and everything. So that is really valuable of how you would communicate a really, really technical part of your project to the audience that without your technical background and be able to understand what you're talking about. So that is really valuable to what I'm doing right now, because I'm kind of, as a product manager, you have to go back and forth between technical people and then non-technical people. So that skill really helped me a lot in my real work.
Wonderful. Amanda, how do you feel you're better prepared for your startup work, having gone through the MEng program? Were there specific courses or experiences that you had that you draw on?
Yeah, so I think the immersion course throughout the semester, kind of the extension of the boot camp, was helpful in that it gave sort of a mini crash course in a lot of different things that I ended up needing more than I realized I would so soon, like accounting, sort of IP negotiation and litigation, cap tables of startup. Starting my own company gave me, I had to like sort of really quickly learn a lot of legal things about incorporation, writing patents, and I was exposed to all those things, so there was nothing well, of course there was a lot of things that were really crazy, but I did feel prepared. Like you said, like a lot of some startups, some of the capstones every year turn into startups, so it was just kind of environment. It was all around. The presentation of my capstone really helped me with my pitching skills, and since I've graduated, there are added like flexibility and concentration options that I think would have also been really helpful to me at the time.
Great, great. And have you leveraged the MEng or Greater Berkeley network in your professional life right now?
Yeah, it was actually through Berkeley that I heard about the accelerator that I ended up living in China to go participate in. It's called HAX. They're big fans of Berkeley, so they were very excited when they received my application, especially since the project was conceived here on campus. So that's probably the biggest thing. And like when I was applying to jobs even prior to starting my startup, the Berkeley network around here was very helpful.
Great, great. And Leo, did you use any career services or programs when you did your career search coming out of the MEng program?
Yeah, I think I visited Jocelyn a lot just to ask if there's any alumni that work in the company that I was applying for. So a couple of alumni got back to me, and then we chatted a little bit about the company and what they do. I think those are really helpful. And also I have my resume, trying to revise by a couple of alumni that I got contacted through the program. So I think those are really useful.
Great, great. All right, well, those are all of the panel questions that I have for our alums. So now I want to open it up to the audience in the last 15 minutes or so we have for questions. So Megan will be reviewing your questions, so please just type them into the text box in the GoToWebinar control panel under questions. And you can ask questions of our alums or admissions and academic questions for me and Megan, and we'll try to answer everyone's questions. If you have anything really specific to your situation, maybe about your academic background or specific to you application questions, we're also available again by email or by phone after this session to go through some individual advising as well. So Megan, do we have any questions from the audience?
Hi, yeah, thank you everyone who are submitting questions. As Beth said, for the really specific ones, I know some of you want to know about specific concentrations and curriculum. I see a lot of those questions. Those would be great questions to submit to the department directly. If you don't know how to get in touch with them, you can definitely start at their website or reach out to me and I can put you in contact with them. But some other questions, I've started replying to some of you, so I'm sorry if I didn't quite get to your question already, but some really quick ones. To confirm, yes, the Master of Engineering is a one-year program as compared to other Masters of Science programs, which are closer to 2 years. They do both yield a master's degree. Another big question is, can I apply to the program in a different department than my undergrad degree is in? I hear this question a lot. The answer is yes. We don't require that you have an undergraduate degree in the department that you are applying to. And so as Amanda said, she had a little bit of a different background. The only thing that we're going to require, of course, is that you can succeed in those grad level technical courses. Something that I would recommend is take a look at Berkeley's undergraduate program in that department, and you can kind of compare and contrast to see what types of courses are going to be expected at the baseline if you're not sure whether you meet those prerequisites, so to say. Let's see some other questions. Another question that I get regarding Capstone. So does your concentration or department of study determine/limit which capstone projects you're able to participate in? The only department that is going to place you specifically in your capstone would be EECS, so electrical engineering. For those, you will most likely only be on an EECS capstone. But as I briefly touched upon, we have such a great cohort and we're so diverse that a lot of the projects want to pool students from multiple departments. So no, it does not necessarily, your department and concentration doesn't necessarily limit your capstone projects.
Yeah, but to jump in there, I would say that your capstone technical work should be related to your technical concentration. So everyone's going to be doing work drawing on their technical coursework. And then, yeah, the EECS department, as part of the admissions process or soon thereafter, they'll give you a selection of the ECS capstone projects, which are a little bit more heavily researched based than our other capstones. And those you're matched to over the summer. So by the time you're here in fall, you can hit the ground running on those EECS capstones, whereas the other departments have a little bit more fluidity. And we have a capstone fair where you go ahead and meet faculty and learn more about the projects, and then go through an open marketplace, sort of like applying to an internship, job application process to be matched to a capstone. But generally, 90% of our students receive their first choice match capstone.
Yeah, thank you, Beth, for jumping in. So another question that I'm seeing a lot of are work experience versus your research experience, and what are the admissions committees going to be looking for? So I would definitely say that, of course, everyone uses their undergraduate degree for different reasons. So some people spend lots of their time in internships, or maybe you're working your way through your program, or maybe you are doing pure research. So we have a really diverse background. I wouldn't necessarily say that one is valued over the other. The departments are going to be making the admissions decisions, and what they're looking for might vary. It might depend on your background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd like to add to that, as we love to see things outside of your academic experience, whether it be research or work experience. Something that, and then having a letter of recommendation from that experience is great. Basically, something that speaks to your ability to succeed in graduate level technical coursework, like Megan said, especially if you're switching your technical area, as well as speaks to your interest and potential for leadership roles. So as Amanda mentioned, she had work experience before coming into the program. So even though, about 3/4 of our students are straight out of undergrad, they typically have research or work experience while in undergrad or before undergrad. But it is, a great asset to your application to have work experience. So I wanted to make that clear as well, as we really do value students who have work experience. And I think having 2 or 3 years of work experience, like with an MBA experience, can really add to what you get out of the MEng program, and also what we believe that you can add to it. So it does help you in the application process.
Great, thanks, Beth. So another question that's come up, which I think is for the alumni. So alumni, can you briefly describe your experiences in terms of collaboration, and can you touch upon whether or not you found that there was a competitive spirit, which I know Berkeley is sometimes infamous for, so just talking about teamwork and being on the Berkeley campus.
Amanda, do you want to start with that?
Sure. I'd say that, let's see, within my capstone, it was definitely pretty teamwork oriented. We had separate industries to research, and so we weren't really competing with one another. In class, I ended up sort of getting together like a pretty consistent homework and study group that I ended up working with pretty consistently. So in that way, like, I was able to be collaborative without like an overarching competitive spirit.
Yeah. Leo, do you have anything to comment on terms of collaboration versus competition?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So it just happened that for my capstone, it's the first time ever that you have to compete for work to do, because everybody on the team was so enthusiastic about the project. So if you don't try to grab things to do, and you're gonna end up doing nothing, because people are just trying to compete and get more work to do. Because that's interesting to me that happens. It's like the first time ever happened to me, because for my past experience from my undergraduate, you always have these teammates that doesn't do anything on the team, end up getting the same grade, and you do all the work. It doesn't work, at least in Berkeley. In my project, you have to get work, and if you not try hard, you end up to be the one who doesn't do any work, which is the opposite, which is really interesting. And also, I think that shows people here are really passionate about the work they do, and they choose the project really because they are into it. And on the collaborative side, I think it's kind of like coexistent with the competition, try to do more work, but also we try to support each other to do a better work for the same reason, because we are all passionate about the project. Ultimate goal is to make the project successful. So yeah, that's my take.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thanks everyone. So another question that I am seeing are, can I take more technical electives, or is there the possibility to take other courses on campus? So we do allow you to take additional electives. The 25 units that we went over, those are going to be required for your degree. But if you wanted to supplement with an additional technical elective, that would be your discretion, and I would work with your departmental advisor to determine if that's a good option for you. We do also have a lot of students who take advantage of the Haas School of Business here at Cal, and will take some elective courses there. So there are some set courses that the School of Business offers for non-MBA students that our students tend to really love. Of course, depending on your workload, I would talk to your advisor and just make sure that you're not overloading yourself. But the quick answer to those questions are yes, you can definitely supplement your 25 units just use your own personal discretion. Another question, I see a couple confusions about boot camp. So boot camp is usually 1.5 to 2 weeks prior to the actual start of the semester, and this is going to be an intensive week and a half where you are taking your leadership courses, so you wouldn't be taking any technical coursework. As Beth had earlier on in the presentation, these are going to be the classes more so geared towards, negotiations, your R&D, industry, those sorts of topics. That is what boot camp is going to cover. Let's see.
Well, I think
is there? Oh, go ahead, Beth.
Sorry, we have time for just one more question, Megan, and then I think we're going to have to end since we've reached the end of our hour.
Okay, really quickly then, I'll just touch upon someone who asked, is there career support or alumni support after the MEng program? The answer is yes. We definitely hold alumni events after the end of the program that we always invite our current and alumni students to, so that we can keep our MEng program strong. And if you have questions or need help after the fact, then we're definitely resources for our alumni network.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so the career development programming certainly extends, until students have found jobs. So we're certainly always here for you. So yeah, some examples are we have an alumni brunch and an alumni here in Berkeley and an alumni happy hour in San Francisco. And then a couple years ago, we've also started an alumni happy hour in Paris. So the more areas we have concentrations of alums, we'll continue to start having alumni clubs and branches internationally. So on that note, we welcome you to join our MEng community. And I wanted to thank Megan, Leo, and Amanda for being here today. Leo and Amanda, thank you so much for sharing your journey and experience in the MEng program. It is really great to hear it firsthand, and I think it's a testament to the program that alums are willing to take time out of their busy schedule to come in and help promote the program with us today. So the next steps for you, our audience, we invite you to visit a class if you're in the area, hear more about other student and alumni experiences through our blog on Medium. We also have some great student input on our Funk Institute YouTube channel, some other alums talking about their experiences. So I invite you to explore those resources as well. And please don't hesitate to reach out to Megan or I for admissions advising. So thank you all for joining us today. We will post a recording of this session and email this out to you as well. And we hope you all have a wonderful day, and go Bears. Thank you so much.